Hey guys, welcome to the Vaughn Weightlifting Masters Program. We're here in the Kilo Cave. As you see our wall of fame back here behind me, but this is where most of my coaching and lifting takes place, as well as the other Vaughn Weightlifting coaches and athletes. Very excited to be here in front of the camera for you for a Masters program specifically. So we're going to go over some of those details, make sure we're getting off on the right foot. First thing I noticed is, basically for the first time, is the first exercise you guys actually will be doing inside of this weightlifting program is actually running. So not sure I feel too good about that, but no, it's just part of the warm-up. But I felt like it was very ironic. We actually have a T-shirt, Vaughn Weightlifting T-shirt that says it's not running. So I almost did change it to something else just because, but no, it's all good. But in any case, guys, like I said, Masters program. I've been wanting to put out a Masters program for a really long time. I've basically been writing weightlifting programming for Masters for about 8 years now. The first 2 or 3, maybe even a handful of athletes that I actually worked with in weightlifting were Masters age athletes, probably I think around the 45 to 60 year old age range at that time. And I've worked with many Masters athletes since then through the years. I'm actually a Masters athlete now myself, as most, if not all of you guys know. I am a young Masters athlete, but working with those other athletes for the last 8 years and seeing the changes that have gone on with my body through the years and leading up into becoming a master, I have a good feel of, I feel like I have a good feel of what is very much needed physically, and also the time constraints that are there very present inside of most Masters aged athletes. I'm in the gym right now 3 days a week, maybe 4 days a week, if I can make it happen a fourth day. But that's what I can be consistent with, and when I'm consistent with that, it makes a huge difference. It's definitely, when you're consistent, it's definitely enough. And so those little details are what I want to share with you guys, and again, just some of the specifics of the program and how it's going to work, to make sure that we're on the same page and that we get you guys started the right way, and we can move forward from there. It can definitely look overwhelming. I know I've heard a couple people say that, and confusing. It can look confusing and all that stuff, but it's all about the detail. Once you get used to it, it'll obviously it'll all make sense to you, and it'll all make sense to you now. But I don't want it to overwhelm you. What I do want to say is that I don't want to put out a program, I don't ever want to put out a program that just reads snatch 10 reps at 80%, and no detail, no instruction, nothing else, no video. Squat 5 sets of 5 at 80%. Whatever the specific exercise is, and then the reps, and then the sets and the reps, and then the percentage, or whatever load you're going to be using. To me, it's not enough. It is enough sometimes, but most of the time, a lot of exercises and a lot of percentages and a lot of indicated loads and that kind of thing can be left too much to interpretation, and I don't want that to happen. I want to give you as much information as I can, and I'll try to keep it as little as possible, but understand, to me, it's about that detail. And the detail in this program, and the videos and the writing within the program, is, I'm confident that's what's going to make a big difference for you and help you get through this. So I don't want you to take that for granted. I don't want you just to skip over that stuff just because you feel like you know what needs to happen. Make sure that you give it a look. At least what's going to happen for 3 or 4 weeks in a row. You guys are going to be doing mostly the same exercise anyway. So give them an initial look. When it comes up again the next week or the week after, you don't have to look at it in too much detail. Watch all the videos. Take the time to watch all the videos. Again, don't just assume you know exactly what we want, but I promise you, you will get much more out of it, and you will accomplish more what I'm aiming for you to accomplish if you do that for me. Obviously, there's a good amount of extra credit in there. There's a full extra credit day. There's an extra credit exercise at the end of each of the base 3 days. What I want you to realize about that is that if you can get those in, that's great. That's awesome. I think it's going to help you, keep moving. It's going to help you recover. It's going to help you get just a little bit of extra work in at the end of each workout, specifically towards the snatch and clean and jerk movement, obviously. But I want you to know that the base program is written to be enough. And what that base program is again, 3 days a week and 2 main key exercises within the work portion per day. So what I basically do is I write that out first, and I make sure that it's sufficient. If that's all you can get in, aside from the warm-ups, I'll talk more about that here in a minute, but if that's all you can get in, the workout is sufficient. It's written for that. Again, there's those extra credit days, those extra credit exercises added in for those of you that have time, then absolutely get those in. If one week you have time and the other week you don't worry about it. Get the base work in, and then if there's ever a time where you can get the extra credit in, it's not going to hurt you to do it. It's not going to hurt you to leave it out. Don't feel like you have to do it. Don't feel like you have to get the extra credit in. Again, it's not part of the base program that is written. All right? Now, aside from the extra credit, just take that out of the mix right now. What is most important? Well, the rest of the program is very important. It all works together, obviously synergistically. When you can be consistent with the warm-up, the work portion, the auxiliary portion, and the recovery, obviously you're going to get the most out of it that you possibly can. Now, what's most important out of all that? Again, it's all very important, but let's start with the warm-ups. The warm-ups are very detailed. They're pretty lengthy. What I want to say about that is that the amount of time that I'm estimating that it's going to take you, obviously for this first week, the first couple weeks, the entire workout may take a little longer than it will eventually. So a little longer than that 90-minute total target. The warm-up section, for example, may take a little longer than it will next week and definitely the week after. Once you guys get used to it, not that you're going to be rushing through it, but you're going to know what you're doing. You're going to be able to get through it a little bit quicker. So be a little patient with me there, and just make sure that you're taking the time to get the hang of it before you really say, okay, this workout or this portion of the workout is taking me this long. But the warm-ups in themselves are very detailed. I want to make sure that you're ready for what's coming next, that you're prepared, and we're also taking that opportunity to make some changes. You're going to be able to make some good changes just from being consistent with what's written inside of those warm-ups on each day. I really feel that you could do nothing but the warm-up section, and if you're doing that 3 or 4 days a week, you're going to get a lot of good out of that by itself, and that's what I want. I want it to be that detailed. I want it to be that beneficial for you. So keep that in mind. Moving on to the work portion of the program. Again, 2 base exercises. If you're getting nothing but the warm-up and those 2 base exercises in, you're doing really, really good. I'm not telling you to leave out the auxiliary section if you can keep from it. I'm not telling you to leave out the recovery section. Obviously, those are very important parts of the program. I'll repeat it over and over and over again, and you'll get a lot more out of the whole program. But that, to me, those 2 segments are definitely the base. From there, if you just don't have the time to do auxiliary and recovery, do the recovery, okay? Auxiliary is, again, it's very important, but it's one of those things that's on the line, especially with where we're at right now. What you guys need, what I feel most of you guys need as master athletes is the warm-up, because there's a lot of mobility and base stuff in there. The key exercises, the 2 base exercises, and the recovery. There's some good mobility drills and smashing in there that I think are very important for you guys. Anything else is icing on the cake. All right. Do you guys have any questions or concerns on that, or need help figuring out, again, say if you only have an hour a day, I don't want you to not do it because you don't feel like you can get it all in. contact us, let us know. We'll help you figure out what's most important. But basically, it's going to come down to taking all the extra credit out, leaving it out, warm up, work portion, and then adding in what you can from there. The squats you'll be doing 2 this week. You'll be doing 1 on day 1, 1 on day 3. So as it's written on Monday and Friday. You're going to be alternating between on day 1 between higher reps in the squat and then lighter pause squats. Now those pause squats may be seemingly too light, and that's written in there that way on purpose. I want you to know that in the coming weeks, as we continue doing that, we'll start to go up in weight. I'll write in by feel, which means you can go up heavier, whatever you're comfortable, whatever you can do for quality. But I want to make sure you guys are introduced into the tempo squats that I'm going to be handing out. You guys are going to be doing lots of pause squatting in this program, and basically any program that I put out. So if any of you guys aren't used to it, on the chance that any of you guys aren't used to it, I'm going to slowly progress you into those pauses and start putting on more and more weight. All right. And that goes for the squats on Monday, and it goes for the squats on Friday. The squats on Friday, you're going to be alternating between back squats with higher reps and front squats with just a single rep with a pause and with straps on. You guys will see that in the videos. You'll see it written in the description, so you'll know exactly what to do. But of course, there's a purpose there. And with the front squat specifically with straps, it's to the beginning of you working your front rack mobility again. In regards to all the mobility stuff that's in the program, and whether that's a smashing piece in the recovery session, whether that's some moving mobility, which an example of that would be a pec stretch that you're going to see, or a behind the neck press and stretch, which is a bar behind your neck, pressing, holding, and then stretching back down. So there's not a whole lot of holding in positions going on, but there's a lot of moving through exaggerated range of motion. But no matter what that is, what I'd really like for you to do, one, is just go through it as written for the first couple weeks and get a feel for it. But what you can do is start to individualize that for yourself. And so, for example, in one of the squat sequences, you're going to see we're doing elevated heel squats and then progressing down to the level surface. But in between those different variations of the squat are going to be pieces of mobility. On one of them, you're putting in ankle rocks, which is to help your ankle range of motion. You're putting in internal hip pushes, which is to help open up your hip range of motion. And that's great. In general, it's great. And for some of you guys, those are the 2 things, or one of those are the one most important thing for you. When we go to another day, you're going to see in between different variations of the squat, hamstring work to help open up your hamstrings, warm up your hamstrings, and thoracic work. So just basically laying over the top of a foam roller or whatever device that you have. But obviously that's to help open up range of motion and warm up the back part, so the hamstrings and thoracic. Now, if you know that you're more in need of hamstring work, for example, then go ahead and put hamstring work in on both of those days. So just replace it, right? Does that make sense? If you know that, again, we'll use hamstrings. If you know that your hamstrings are very tight, then one of the pieces of mobility that you maybe should be doing every single day until you make that change is smashing the back of your hamstrings. And you're going to see plenty of exercise and demo videos for that. But we have a good general plan going on for you in regards to mobility and position. But if you can pick those 1 or 2 things out that are most meaningful to you, then once you get the hang of it, don't be afraid to swap some of those things out, and you're going to be able to make a quicker, more efficient, more effective change in those key areas that you need most help on, and then we can move on and adjust from there. And so that's going to be it for the week, guys. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to spend too much time on here. I know you guys got things to do, people to see, and workouts to get to, so I'll let you do that. Again, guys, very excited that you guys are here with us, that you're on the first cycle of the Vaughn Weightlifting Masters program. If you need any help, have any questions along the way, don't hesitate to reach out. and I'll look forward to talking to you again next week.